let's get into expectations for Baker Mayfield. His numbers over the last 6 weeks, which I keep referencing, 6 games, 65.16% completion percentage, which is pretty good. And then the rest of these numbers are outstanding. 1,713 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 103.4 rating. You look at these numbers outside of the completion percentage, most of those numbers are top 5 in a lot of cases. If you projected them out to a full season, would land Baker in the top 5 in a lot of those statistical categories. You mentioned Mary Kay. Was it over the final 7 weeks that he was the number 2 graded quarterback by PFF?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's all pretty lofty.
Or from week 7 on.
Yeah, from week 7 on, he was the number 2 graded quarterback by PFF.
Right.
That's lofty.
Yes.
Should we expect that from Baker next season, to be at that level for 16 games, or is it too soon? And we're not saying he can't do it. We're just saying, is it too soon to expect it to happen next season?
This is where I sometimes try to rein in the expectations a little bit. I tried to do it a little bit after the 2018 rookie season. And I said some things that people didn't necessarily want to hear about what happened in the final 8 games of 2018, that they played a lot of very weak defenses, and that's meaningful. And I think that they need to take a look at that again. Now, there were some pretty phenomenal games, and some of those were against some really good defenses. So I think it's not the same as it was in 2018, but some of those statistics did come against, even the Titans defense was like 28th or something like that, right? So some of the defenses, again, down the stretch and throughout the season, were not the best. Some of the best performances, some of the biggest stats games, came against the Cincinnati Bengals and, teams that were struggling to win games. So I do think that we need to once again be willing to look at some of those things. How many winning teams did he beat, or did they beat? The strength of schedule going forward, and Scott has written about this. They have a tough schedule next year. They really do. It's pretty legit. Of course, we're not sure who the quarterbacks are all going to be all over the place. That's all up in the air. But for the most part, heading into this, the schedule appears to be tougher than it was last year, if even just by virtue of having to go on the road and play Kansas City and Green Bay, and also the Cardinals, right? Is that one going to be on the road? I'm not sure if that's at home or on the road, but nevertheless, they will be playing the Cardinals, and that's not going to be an easy game. So the strength of schedule is going to be significantly different than last year. And therefore, I do think that people need to be a little bit careful about expectations and about them winning 13 games and all that.
I guess my expectations is to see a quarterback who's got a command of his offense, and to see weapons around Baker who also have a good understanding of what they're supposed to be doing to help make him better. And, we saw over the first half of the season, that wasn't always the case. So as far as, where he might be graded or yardage and percentages and stuff like that, Mary Kay's right that the schedule is going to have a lot to do with that. The defense he's going to be playing is going to have a lot to do with that. But I think going through an offseason, knowing that you're going to have the same offense and being able to build on that, because this offense does have to evolve. It's not like they're going to come out and just start running the same stuff. They have to do different things because they kind of hit the wall there against the Chiefs. So there will be new things to learn and new things to get a grasp of for Baker Mayfield, but the stuff he's already got in his back pocket is huge. So I'm not sure what my expectations are about how good this team is or how good he's going to be. I just know that it's going to be better than it was, any other season he's been with the Browns.
Yeah, I think it's hard to frame it. It's hard to put those. I don't feel like I need to come away from next season thinking Baker Mayfield is a top 5 quarterback. Now, I don't want to come away feeling like, oh, he's a top half of the league quarterback. I want to see him trending. I want to feel like it's pointing in that direction, but I don't feel like I have to put him in the same sentence as a Mahomes, a Watson, a Wilson just yet. I'll still give him time on that. I just want to see him build on what we saw over those last 6 games, which, like I said, you project those last 6 games, you're talking about a top 5 quarterback statistically. So I don't necessarily mean he has to match that statistically, but I just want to see him be the quarterback that you can consistently win with. Like you said, Scott, take those next steps in this offense, have a command of the offense, and then let's see where we're at after next season. If we're saying he's a top 5 quarterback, great. If we're saying he's a top 10 quarterback, that's probably where I would place it. I'd like to say he's a top 10 quarterback by most measurements.
Well, you know what? Here's the other thing to think about. I don't think we know yet. And I think that's why next year is such a key year for him, because this year was all about learning. The first half of the season was like preseason, right? I mean, it was putting it all together and seeing what you have. I mean, this second year in a scheme, when you know your personnel, when you know Austin Hooper, you know Alex Van Pelt, you know what he's going to call, they know him and vice versa. I think this is the year where they will get a really, really good idea of just exactly what Baker is and what he's capable of.